All right, ladies. So, thank you so much for joining the Kingdom Culture Lifestyle Show. Happy Saturday! I'm so excited that you guys are here. Y'all are my special guests, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you for having us over.
So, this is Marguerite.
Hi.
And this is Allie. These are my two sisters in Christ.
Yes.
So, I just want us to flow freely. We're going to discuss a few things, right?
Yes.
First things first, I know both of you ladies are believers, right?
Yes.
So I want you to share a little short testimony, like how you came into your relationship with God, with Christ, and just anything that you just want to share concerning your faith, your relationship with God. So who wants to go first?
All right, I'll go first.
This is our women's edition, our special ladies edition, women's talk.
So Catholic by default. Went to midnight mass. My dad was Catholic, and sorry, I was at a concert yesterday screaming and singing all night. And then I was dating this young man, and he gave me a Bible, and he was challenging me and said I wasn't saved, and I was like, what? I thought I'm the good person, and he was right. And so he gave me a Bible. I started reading it. And he broke up with me. He's like, we will be unequally yoked if we got married. And I'm like, what does that mean? And so now I know, 25 years later. So I just started reading. It was great. It was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And God got a hold of me. And I grabbed on with the Bible with both hands. And I married that guy, and we've been together.
That's amazing.
We've been together 25 years.
Oh, that is so
So
sweet.
I see where he broke up with me to walk his walk and be, what he needed to do. And so God was working on both of us. So and I look back on that, and I really appreciate him standing strong in his faith. And
So I mean, like, he knew that you weren't like saved before he started talking to you, but he was interested in you. So it's kind of like he had a little plan.
Yeah.
And then he's like,
He wasn't walking his walk. And so I think really what happened was as we started to get closer and maybe talk marriage, he's like, I'm walking and I'm not talking, I'm reading and I'm not doing my walk straight.
Wow.
So I think it kind of needed that. And then when you think, you're like, oh my gosh, you're so sad, but God's still working in all of that.
Yes.
And so you're like, wow, we just don't always see the big picture.
Right.
And we had to break up to really get us serious about what we were reading in the Bible to get back together. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So y'all had to go through that separation, and it was really just preparation. God was just preparing you all.
Yeah,
All
preparation.
right, beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story, Allie. Now, Miss Marguerite. Margarita.
So how can I go after that? That's such a sweet
everybody
story.
Got ours. It is very sweet. We all got our story.
So Catholic by default. I went to Catholic school. Grew up Catholic. I mean, my whole life till I was about 12 years old. Went to convent. Wanted to be a nun.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That was a real thing. My husband joke with me all the time now. Like, we should really try to pick that up. But anyway, moving forward, my mom started attending Full Gospel Church, and she insisted that I go at 12 years old. Like, who wants to go here?
Sure.
So started attending this church with my mom, and at 16 I got baptized. And got home that evening and had an encounter with Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. And I literally ran out of the bathroom. I'm like, this could not be happening. Okay, so my mom, everybody thought I was crazy, but anytime that I am in doubt or have something that's troubling me, he always reminds me that, hey, remember what I had told you that day in that bathroom?
Wow.
So I will never leave you, I'll never forsake you. And, and that's my story. I mean, of course, I have not lived a perfect life after that.
Right.
I, did everything
Of course.
and made the full circle.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And came back around. But
Right.
he was always right there
Oh,
in all my parties and
everything.
life, right?
Yes.
And so that's it for me.
Oh, sweet.
Aw, that's
It's a great
beautiful.
story.
That's a beautiful
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
So no, I just want to share because I think sometimes I think we have to like look at life like realistically. Like even me, I have daughters, you know what I mean? They were young. And like when I gave my life to God, I got baptized when I was like 9 years old when I was in foster care. Like I shared my testimony with you all. But I did almost just like had like a rededication, or I would say when I fully understood what salvation was when I was like 15 turning 16.
Right.
And I did my best to like, live that life. Even when I was in high school, I was just in the Bible club. I was doing all these things. But as you live life, you're gonna like fall. You're gonna make bad choices,
Yeah.
and you're growing. You know what I mean? Because when you give your life to God, you're not automatically just this mature person with all this wisdom, all this knowledge.
That's
All that stuff comes through experience, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes, when we're in the church and we're raising our children in the church, we have to give our children like that same grace. You know what I mean? Because if we ourselves were like struggling and we didn't do it right,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I raised my children in the church. My children, they know right from wrong. But in that same essence, they say to me, my daughters, they'll come to me, they're like, Mommy, we going to like this party, because I remember with my daughters getting at a certain age where they want to talk to boys, they want to start dating and stuff like that. I was just like, no, I was like so strict. And with my oldest daughter, one time she's like, Mom, you've been in a helicopter mom. Like, I never knew what that was. So I looked that up. I'm like, what is a helicopter mom?
Yeah.
So I did everything within my power not to make that mistake with the rest of my daughters. But, to say this, I gave them like room to grow, room to have grace. And now like, it's nothing for my daughters to like say, hey Mom, they'll talk to me about whatever it is with their situation, with their boyfriend or whatever, or like, Mom, we're gonna do this, but we're gonna be home, or we're gonna be here. This is where we're going at.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
like, okay, y'all know to come in at a certain time because they're young.
So important.
As much as we want to like, the times that we're living in, like, it's not. I would say realistic to think that our kids are gonna just, be walking on the straight and narrow because they have so
Too many
much that they're being,
distractions.
so much that they're being exposed to. Especially with this
Even as
agenda
adults.
with their sexuality. Like they have so many different things that they're battling with spiritually that we didn't have to deal with.
Right.
So, but yeah, I just want to throw that in there because as parents, we have to make sure that we just love our children. We give them like a safe space where they can come to us and talk to us. And we pray for them and we tell them right from wrong. It's not like we're just giving them a pass to go out and sin.
No.
You know what I mean? But we're just giving them
choices. Choices have consequences. So, recently I've been reading just in the Bible, and it's James and 1:5, and it says, ask for wisdom. I'm like, so I was thinking, man, we should be praying every day for wisdom. And so, for the kiddos, we have these, and sometimes they're quick. You make a choice, and that could really define which way you're going to go.
Right.
So, so being there for your daughters, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That they feel they can trust and come to you.
Yeah.
And just creating that space.
Yeah.
It's so important. Back in the day, the girls didn't talk. My mom, when I was 15, 16, man, it was such a rough age because, back in the day, you really didn't talk about things.
You didn't.
So,
You didn't. And
so
stuff
hard.
just
How do you
happened.
find this stuff
Yeah,
out?
how do you find
from
out?
friends, and then it's not even true. And
So for me, I can't say that because my grandmother
really
was my best friend.
That's
She was my confidant.
Yeah.
She was my everything.
Oh, sweet.
She went to her grave with my secrets.
Okay.
I mean, you can't get
Grandma,
that. I don't think like we have. Not everybody gets that.
Yeah.
But looking back now, I can say when I meet with my kids who are, I'm a guardian too, like, and you hear their stories at 15 and 16, I'm like, they are grown.
Yeah.
And at 15 and 16, I was still like a baby
Right,
because I
right,
wasn't
right.
exposed to so many things.
Right, like you
right?
said, this day and age.
And
yeah.
I thank God now for my grandmom, and I always give her highest praise
Yeah.
because she always looked out for me. So
yeah.
when my friends or my husband or my mom and like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to help the world, and this is a running joke in my family, like, oh, you want to help everybody, and I'm like, where did I? Because I questioned myself sometimes, I was like, why am I like that?
Yeah,
like because
right,
sometimes
right.
it can get tiring, and I
Right.
was like, so growing up with my grandmom, my grandmother would help every single person.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody could come to her house
Yeah.
any time of day and get a plate of food.
Yeah.
And she will
Love
feed them, she will clothe them, make sure
Right.
that they're good. And she didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
From her little, she
Yeah.
gave. And I was like, well, maybe that's, I'm trying to justify it. So maybe that's where I
It's
got
a
it
good thing.
from,
Yeah,
right?
good grandma.
But sometimes we question that
yeah.
because you get hurt in the process.
Yeah. True.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You
That's
get
true.
hurt from
It's
from
so funny you
people.
say that because I've been thinking the same. I'm like, I'm tired. I don't have time for all this stuff. But God created those good works for us. I was reading that and I was like, all right, God, you created me to do this. And when people might say something, or I'm just like, I love giving and doing, because I don't know, the secret is it blesses you more when you give and just
But it makes you feel good.
yeah,
It just gives you
that's the
that
adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And I don't think people really understand when you really give.
From
And God,
with
that's
it.
what, yeah.
Not surface give.
Right.
You give it to
Look
get
at Jesus.
recognition.
Jesus walked the earth. He was healing. He was just pouring out. He would go away and pray. So we do need to make sure we're going away and pray. But yeah, I mean, he was just giving of himself, and so I think it's a good, attribute that you have from your grandmother.
So yeah, I was actually listening to a gentleman who was sharing the same thing. Like he saw his mother do that. Like she would just take everybody in, right?
Yeah.
So the thought came to me is like a lot of times, we can receive mantles that are passed from our grandparents and everything. But when people think of a mantle, they always think of it something that's just like something so spiritual, like the gift to prophesy, or this great like thing that comes from heaven that God gives you. But even just the mantle to serve, that's something that your grandmother, she passed that on to you. That's a part of her legacy. You know what I mean? Just her heart to serve, her heart to give. That is instilled in you.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I think that is just something beautiful, because that was probably her love language. I know y'all have heard about the love languages,
yes.
and that just opens up a whole nother dynamic of just wisdom, just giving and serving, like you're saying, having the heart of Christ. Yes, you do get hurt in the process, and then sometimes too I feel like because of the times that we're living in, God is calling us to use more wisdom, more discernment, more discretion, because the Bible says, don't give your pearls to dogs. It's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, what is that? So sometimes, you do have to like guard your heart. You have to use wisdom, and you have to say, okay, you know what I mean? Because some people, they can really abuse you, abuse the system.
Take advantage.
They can take advantage, and the enemy could just be, you know what I mean? Using them, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm glad you guys shared that. I definitely wanted to like get your stories on your relationship and your work with God. So now we're gonna go into some of our lady stuff with dealing with menopause.
The M word.
So we were having this discussion when I ran into you ladies, and y'all started sharing your experiences with menopause, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I haven't hit menopause yet, by the grace of God. But man, I mean, I know a lot can be said. I've met another nurse one time on a case that I was in. She was like 50, but she looked really, really good. She did not look 50, but she told me she was in full blown, like she was in menopause, and I'm like, wow. So I think she started maybe like in her late 40s and everything.
I feel like it's happening earlier as I talk to women, and what we eat. So right, chicken, the hormones and the meat. So I don't know. I feel like even pre-menopause, I would say I was probably I'm 54. So pre-menopause, I would say it could have been could have been like 45, because I think back, I'm like, oh yeah, I think I was not feeling well, in certain situations. And so, but yeah, I think I talked to a young lady, and
35.
she's 37,
Yeah.
and she's feeling some stuff, and I'm like, wow, is it happening young? We don't know, because we were talking earlier to say doctors really don't know all this stuff.
I don't think there's enough
research, like really research to get into
for women, and women health and their body after a certain age. And like you said, it's not only in the 50s or late 40s, it's starting earlier. Yeah. And so what do we do about it? Because I ask other women or older women, and they look at me like a day in the head.
We're days because we don't really know.
Experience. And I'm like, okay, well, if older women, they never had that experience. And I'm like, isn't that crazy? So you have no knowledge to give to me.
Some women don't. My mom was bad. My mom's best friend was not, because I still visit, so we're real close. And my mom's best friend's like, I really didn't have a lot, I can't relate. So we don't know who's going to go a little crazy, who's going to be a little kind of maybe okay, and then just normal, I had maybe a couple hot flashes. You don't really know. So, yeah. But you better embrace for it.
So when you say go crazy, you're saying that the menopause can actually affect.
For me,
you were sharing that.
It was bad. Okay, so typically I'm joyful. Like I just, I grew up. My dad was very jovial. I think I'm a little bit of my mom and dad mix. And just growing up, I had 3 brothers, and I was the youngest of 3 boys. So I think I just they were in sports, and they were busy, and they were well known. We were in a small town. So I look back now, and I'm thinking maybe I just wanted attention, but I was always trying to make them laugh and just have fun. So I've always been like a fun type, joyful. And then as I know Jesus, I call it my Jesus joy, reading all of our Bible verses that say rejoice always and everything, give thanks. And so, but I tell you, 50 hit hard. And I was working, and it just hit. And I'm telling you, ladies, I have never, ever, and it hits your hormones mentally, spiritually. I was not well. I mean, to a point. Thank God my husband was very, very supportive. I had never, ever been suicidal. Mm-hmm. I was dark, suicidal, and I told him, I said, maybe you need to put me away. I'm not well. That's how bad it was. Wow. And I was shocked. I was like, this isn't right. I don't know what's wrong with me. I called my general practitioner. I called my OB doctor, and there was no urgency. They're like, I told them I was emotional, crying at the drop of a hat. I'd never been like that. And so went in for blood work. Finally, I was able to get in pretty quick. And all my, so with your OB doctor, they check your hormones. All of mine were all red. And I just had like a
your hormones tornado. Were kind of like out of control.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm the lady that got the ticket to be the worst. And so, and you know what, girls, I had to so I got that, and they're like, yep, you're in full blown menopause. No, this could help you, or it's like, just deal with it, just go ahead. And so I did. I said, you know what, I cleared my calendar. I would go to the park. I'm an outdoor person, so go to the beach, go to the park. I'd ride my bike. I had to get, and then I would just read. And I wasn't in a good place spiritually. I wasn't mad at God, but I was like, why does this have to happen? Like, menopause, what is this? So I started reading, and then I just started to try to do some things, and it did. The stress, you can't have stress, really, because I don't know, it just really messes you up. And so it took about 6 months, but I remember saying, I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other, and one day at a time. Yeah, and praying, and Jesus. And I would go to bed at night. Again, I was not feeling great, and I wasn't sleeping great either, because that happens too, right? Yes. That's the great thing too. You don't sleep well.
So insomnia, irritability. I'm calling out the symptoms.
Yeah,
moodiness, because your hormones. So the insomnia.
For me, thank God, I wasn't like crazy. My sister-in-law, she was angry, like she was angry. So I was glad. I was more emotional, and I would just be like, you know,
crying, sad,
yeah,
easy
right,
to
yeah.
yes.
And so when I went to bed at night, Psalm 23, I would just say, to this day, literally, probably for about a year, I said that. The Lord's my shepherd, I shall not. He makes me lie down.
Make me.
Which he had. He made me lie down. Because I don't have anything else. No doctor can help you. And you're like Jesus. And so, yeah.
Wow.
So,
See,
but it was a while. And I'm here to tell you I made it through. Thank God. Because I really feel like women that do take their life. It is because I feel like your hormone, you are not yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like women are not able to deal with this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by the grace of God, I did. And I still, to this day, I look at my calendar. I'm not, because again, with the stress, sometimes, you know, our work is stress or you have family or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to say that. I'm not into drama. I say that a lot.
That's my name.
Yeah.
I don't do drama. No.
You got to just, nope. And yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it is.
Okay, so now did you have to use any medication?
So I did. My doctor gave me ester gel. So it was just, I put it on and that helped. Like I could tell that it helped your hormones, whatever, I'm not a doctor, but whatever that did, it worked for me.
Okay.
And again, here we go. The estradiol is $80 a month. No, insurance doesn't cover it. You're so you feel like nothing is in your face. You're like, this happens to every woman, and there's no
no support system. There's
no
like
support.
no treatment.
No.
You're like, okay,
For menopause.
Did the estradiol, and I said, okay, that's working for me. I had night sweats. I heard that apple cider vinegar helped with that, right? Because I'm looking for more natural ways.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be on all this stuff, medication. So I would do a couple shots during the week. So I would do, like in the morning, I would do a shot. And for it to this day, I don't have hot flashes or night sweats. So I do feel
the
like
apple cider
some of this
vinegar.
natural stuff can help.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a shot of
Now
apple
again,
cider
that's
vinegar.
my body.
That's what's working for you.
Because everybody's
Because
different.
everybody is
Yeah.
different.
Right, yeah,
You know, everybody's
So,
different.
but for me, that works. And then I found a good tea that would help, like within motion, right?
Yeah.
So I would make that during the week. And so I would just, as I drove to work, I would have my tea in the morning. And I feel like it did. It just helped
Help you to stay
me.
calm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Usually I was pretty calm, but like I said, this hormone thing, it's your tailspin. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I tell people, I don't wish hormonal imbalance on anybody. You're out of control.
Okay, so
That's my story.
Your story. Thank you for sharing your story. Okay, and you said you got like a bad case of it, but it sounds like there was some intervention. You brought God into the situation, and you also were using some hormone, hormone supplement to help level you out. Natural herbal tea, that kind of worked for you. And so you're stable
and working
now.
out too.
Yeah, you're
Again,
still working out, doing things that you love to do, things that
feel
feel
feeds
good
your
things.
soul.
Feel your soul.
Just nurturing yourself. Okay, so now what has been your experience with menopause?
Ooh. Jesus.
True. Good.
He's the I'll tell you for everything to answer.
For me, I didn't know what was happening. I was sad and angry, and I could be happy 1 minute and then mad at my husband for no reason. He is, I can give him a gold medal because he is.
My
husband too.
He just knew how to handle me. Because
Yeah.
I will be nice with you 1 minute, and next minute I will be like, "Don't talk to me."
Right.
And I'm like, so, and I'm talking to myself.
like a different person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In
You're
the,
like
in the snap of a hat, you're a different person. I'm like, this is not who I am.
Right.
This is not. So I have to find a way, because for you, your blood work came back.
You can
Here,
tell.
wire,
Right.
No, I got my blood work and everything was perfect.
Yeah. Wow.
There was no signs of anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this can't be right, because there's something obviously going on with me.
Yeah.
I'm not going crazy by myself.
Yeah.
So I did my homework as well, the apple cider
Good.
vinegar, which I don't take anymore because sometimes it gives you the acid
Sure,
reflux, right?
yeah.
So you'll take a break.
Mhm.
But when I was taking that, I didn't have the sweats.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I still do have night sweats because I
Mhm.
take a break from that. So
Sure.
I think that there is something else for you to take.
Mhm.
And I have an over-counter medication that I tried out
Mhm.
because I'm like, Jesus, I am going to ruin my relationship.
It's hard.
Because-
Yeah. You're trying to have a relationship with your husband. Night sweat. It's for
no,
real.
No, then besides the night sweat,
Yeah.
he doesn't know who I am at any given moment.
Yeah.
So he was walking on eggshells because he didn't
Yeah, he
know.
didn't
was
know
gonna-
like who
Who are
you know
you today?
So so I give him grace for that, and I
Yeah.
thank him for being who he is, and
Yeah.
it's just it's not a nice place
Yeah,
to be,
it's rough.
and women are not kind to each other
Right.
when they are going through this. Oh, you get it
That's
old.
such a good point
Oh.
too.
Oh, you're getting
Right,
old,
yeah,
right? It's not
you're
about
right.
getting old.
Yeah.
You're old when you
Your
die.
body's not working.
Your
yeah.
body is just not operating how it was operating at 20 and 30 and 40.
Yeah.
And when you reach, and as you said before, it's not even the age anymore because
Right.
younger women are getting it.
That's right.
So for me, I have gained 50 pounds
Mhm.
and can't get it to move.
Yeah. Right.
I might get it to move a couple, in the right direction, but
Yeah.
if I only look at the water too hard, I will
Yeah.
put back on the
Right.
weight. It was like,
Right.
what is happening to your
So
body?
weight gain.
Yeah.
So the weight gain
gain's
is a big deal. It's a
deal.
big deal. And I, like I told you guys before, I work out 3 times a week.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Right?
see, when you got it like a kink in a hose, it's not, the water's not going to come out. When you're trying to work out and your hormones maybe are out of whack, nothing. Like you said, okay, I'm going to gain 10 pounds just from drinking water.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah.
how the body,
But what I do, I work out. So
Yeah.
when I work out, those endorphins help me
Right.
to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps
For
relieve
sure.
stress.
So it's not even, so what I tricked the mind, I was like, this
Yeah.
is not about me losing weight.
Yeah, good.
This is about
Good.
me being happy.
Yeah,
Happy.
good.
mentally,
And
emotionally.
mentally,
Some people are gonna
emotionally,
say working
and
out
at
makes
least,
you happy, but it's true.
and
It's
making
true.
my bones stronger
Yeah.
because I do the
Yeah.
weight training
Good.
and do the, because
Yeah.
when we got older, no, I shouldn't say older, when we got more mature.
Thank you. Thank you.
Aging gracefully.
You have to age
like
gracefully,
fine wine.
and
That's
the bones need to have a little more
I
muscles.
just went for my
right?
bone density, and
And
it
I
was
had to-
good. So
yes,
yeah,
mine
you
is
just
good
gotta
too.
take care. We got one body, right, girls?
They say it's a
So.
30-year-old, right? My bone density. So I'll
Okay.
take that. I'll take that.
Okay.
But yeah, menopause is not kind
Right.
to.
But I like
some
what
of
you
us.
said. Women, we do need to see that and recognize and say, hey, is everything okay? Not
We are
assume
not-
that, oh, you're getting old. I mean, how horrible is that?
Yeah,
and
we're not
I'll
kind
be
to each
honest
other.
with you, I have had eyes to see that more. You know, when we say God, like you go through things like a death in the family. Now you're able to maybe help someone else. Going through menopause, I'm telling you, I've had probably 24 conversations with different women.
And not be afraid
Because
to
it's
talk
for
about
real.
it.
Right.
Because some of us are
Right.
ashamed to talk about it.
Of course.
Wow.
Because,
Yeah,
it makes it a stigma.
That's it. Oh, she can't do
Okay.
her job because something's going
And
on
it's,
with her.
and I'm gonna say
It
this is like
yeah.
they say, oh, when you get menopause, some women frown upon you because you
Yeah.
can't have sex or do anything like
Yeah,
that
we want to
anymore.
get into that conversation.
Yeah.
So, like, so some women, they say that when you get menopause that you can't have sex anymore, or is it that your libido, like you don't have a drive for sex
That's it.
anymore?
Well,
yeah,
it
could
depends
go
on the woman.
down. Right.
It
yeah.
depends. Like every.
And if
Yeah.
something
It's
happens to
Yeah.
the cookie, let's just say the cookie,
Okay.
The
like
cookie.
it goes through like some changes, like
I don't
Sure.
know.
dryness,
Dryness.
right? I saw that.
dryness.
Well, I don't have those as yet.
Me
Well,
neither.
I don't know if it's coming.
Praise the Lord. Yeah. There's a light at the end. Yeah.
There's a light at
Okay.
the end of the tunnel,
Oh, okay,
right?
so those
So
are probably those extra benefits and perks of serving the Lord.
There you go.
Keeping stuff nice. And,
Thank you.
No, so I have not gone there.
Because I would think that would, for some
Because that
people,
would be hard.
if
'cause
you're
your man's
married.
like, what's up? Yeah.
Because
So.
I do have some women that I've heard complain
Yeah,
about that.
me too.
And my
Me
doctor
too.
had
Yeah.
actually given me a prescription to keep on hand, like if
Yeah.
that happens.
Exactly. Right.
But
There
once
is-
you
there
start,
are things you can.
you have to
and,
an
yeah.
insertion or something like that. But for me, once you start any medication, it feels like you have to continue doing it.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't
want your body to become like it won't function naturally.
I don't
want
to have
any
this.
medication.
Yeah,
Right,
if you don't need it, you want to be able to function
I want to
naturally
be able
without
to function
any
naturally.
substance or something.
So yeah.
good.
But a lot of people are suffering from that, and sometimes marriages break up because of that.
So the drive, is it the drive that the women, their libido goes down?
I'm not a doctor, so I can't say.
Just,
but some
what's
people
experience.
One gynecologist told me, she said, women don't get dry because of menopause. They get dry because their husbands are boiling.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
you gotta date. You really, as you get older, you gotta date. I tell my husband often in the last 10 years,
my son
you
that.
need to date me.
Yeah. But one thing she mentioned, she said to me, she said, if men will take up half the chores in the house, you come home, the kitchen is clean. They don't leave their stuff.
Do stuff to like
you.
make you happy, to make you at peace.
I mean, the things that
you could fall in a rut. You could fall in a rut.
But I'm just saying that she was like, if they were to do those things, trust me, women would not be dry.
Okay.
So I took that advice and went home to my husband.
Well,
I was like, this is what the doctor said.
There you go.
Prescription. This is a prescription.
But it's true. We get tired. Now you're getting tired a little more easily as you get older. I can see that.
We're not using older. We're using
wiser.
That's a great age.
But we're aging, But that's the thing. It's a fact. And yet you still got all this stuff. Now, even when you are maturing, you have kids that are older. I have a friend, her kids are all doing their thing, and she's taking care of her parents, right? So now you're in 40s and 50s, you're in a spot, women and men, but women are in a spot. They're trying to run the whole house, help the kids, taking care of mom and dad that are aging.
Yeah.
All this.
Go to work.
Go to work. I mean, we didn't talk about work.
Cooking. Clean.
Still gotta lay on your back. I mean,
Lighten the load.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Lighten the load. That's
but we gotta tell that. We gotta communicate. So I do. I'll remind my husband. I'm like, okay, you're outside chores. I'm inside, and knock it out, and then have a date night on Saturday night or whatever day. Because my husband works on the weekend, but whatever works for you, you gotta get back to. Because I think that's what happens too. Like you mentioned, is that I think the relationship is familiar, and we just are like, well, it's boring.
Usually by that time, most women have been married. If they got married, younger, they've been in their marriage for 20 plus years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sure.
So you do get familiar with that person, and so I've heard. I don't know how true it is that certain women at a certain age they get like a higher drive. Is that true?
I don't know. I'm not
there.
I've heard
that. I'm not like you be a doctor. I'm just trying to act like
no.
Y'all know what women are
I'm not there. But
is that true though?
I've heard. I do for both men and women.
Or is it the men? Is it women too?
Both men and women can, but again, everybody's body is different.
Okay.
And like I said, the environment. Sure, if I don't have to clean the house all day, and then my husband comes home and let's get together. I'm like, I'm tired. Yeah.
So I want to be able to come home to a nice clean house.
Yes.
Candles lit, some nice music playing.
So guys,
and
let's take a pause for the call.
Get some flowers, clean the house,
because I might be feeling some type of way if I've been home cooking, cleaning, slaving, and you come in and you like, okay, you done took your bath, and you looking at me like, okay,
no,
like you're not being considerate of what
exactly. Yeah, but I feel like if when you're younger, you're able to do that without even thinking.
Right.
But that's spoiling the men, right?
Yeah.
So you have to train them to what it is.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
No, as we mature. So now I know that now, but I didn't know that in my
we're learning. Yeah, we're learning. Right.
On the job training, right?
Yeah, right.
On the job training. Because
that's right.
So I will tell my son and his wife now because they're younger, and I can tell them.
Right.
I was like, you can't spoil him. So and I told him like you need to pick up. Like if she's working in the city and you're working from home, there's no reason that she should have to come home and feed you. you should be able to
You
have
could
dinner
make
ready.
dinner.
That's
Right.
right.
At
Both
least-
of you guys are working.
Yeah.
At least twice a week.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do something.
I do think
Either
that.
you make it or you buy
order
it
it.
or something.
Or
but
you
you gotta do
let's go
splurge.
out.
Yeah, you splurge
Right.
and maybe do a
But-
order in.
Yeah.
So yeah, have those
But
treat
I'm
nights.
just saying, when you meet each other in the middle with chores and with life on the whole,
Yeah.
it makes the
Oh,
relationship. a
Speaking
whole
of dinner, this is live, and I made stuffed
I was just
salad.
getting ready to say
I
that
made
was
stuffed
we got some food bacon. Listen, so that was a nice little tip for oh my gosh, for
That's-
women
yeah.
that are married,
Free
you know,
advice.
just how to like balance, you know, married life, and like you're saying, having this conversation like with your spouse. So there's just that balance there,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
because
so
I
it's
think
got a
that just
balance.
makes everything
Yeah.
flow. So listen, you guys, that's it for now for the Kingdom Culture Lifestyle Show. We just wanted to come in with this short segment. My guests, they're so sweet. They brought me flowers. They brought me gifts. They brought me food. Oh my gosh, I feel so loved. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, we'll be back.
Bye.
Bye.